Yeah. I practiced my first job. There are some small things that I did since I was a student. I had to work in the summertime, for example, in one factory to deal with cartoon boxes. And later on, I also work in some shops to sell products to help my family, as I am the oldest daughter for them. And then I was a teacher for 4 years. This was a great experience for me because I still now, until now, I feel that teaching is a very, very important job to do, and a very interesting one. But then I stopped being a teacher because I had a confrontation with the director of the school. She used to to beat the children, the students, and I was against this practice, and there was a confrontation. I resigned after that because she said, this is my school, I'm free to do whatever I want. So, and she said, for those who are not happy with my way, they can leave. So I left, and that's put me in a situation to try to find another job. I did find a job in a newspaper, and that was also another very important experience for me, which is the media and journalism community and expertise. That's opened my eyes on a lot of other issues and other aspects of seeing how we can be effective and how we can change the public opinion by journalism and committed journalism, in fact. But then the time came when I was able to join the legal community, because before that time I was not able to be a trainee lawyer, as this period is not paid. So you have to spend 2 years working without being paid, and it was for me impossible until the moment where my husband has a job in one of the Gulf states, so he can earn enough money so I can spend some time to get my degree, my license to be a lawyer. So I did so for 2 years, and I was focusing that time on public freedoms, democracy, and issues related to legal protection for rights of people and individuals. And then I start to feel that as a female lawyer, who was the 5th female lawyer in the country only, was a very difficult role to play, because usually I found some support by my colleagues, but it is the support of the patriarchy, from a patriarchal mentality, that I am a person who need their help, or who need their their support, because I am less powerful than them, less experienced than them. But I welcomed that because it was necessary in that time. And then I discovered that maybe women in legal profession and laws are in many times discriminating against women. I start to discover these issues, and I start to focus on them. That was the beginning of involving Arab women lawyers in women's rights issues. As I joined the Arab Lawyers Union that time, and I became the first rapporteur to the Women's Affairs Committee in that union since 1994. And this was a huge experience because it links me with other women lawyers in the region. And I found out how common are our situations, how common are our needs, and our common plans that was built during the meetings of the Arab Lawyers Union, and that's lead to be involved in the international community kind of activism, such as Nairobi Conference on Women's Rights in 1985. And since then I was involved in many of the international and regional conferences, meetings, and networks on women's issues. That was very important. So I became a lawyer, but a feminist lawyer, if you may agree with this term. I think being a lawyer and a feminist lawyer lead me to women NGOs. I was involved in women NGOs since the early 70s, in fact, in both the women union and also in the labor unions for teachers, in private schools teachers. I was also a member in that labor union. But later on, I also tried to be involved in our bar association committees, especially the Public Freedom and Human Rights Committee and the Women Committee. And later on, that leads to be active in organizing and lobbying for legal amendments and organizing women and being involved in these civil society organizations. That leads to me to be the Jordanian Women's Union president. I was elected in 1993, and then I was also a member of many regional and international women's rights organizations, board member or a member in human rights organizations such as Amnesty International and then the International Commission of Jurists and others. That is an experiences which helps me to listen to different ideas, to different aspects, to learn from all these different people coming from all parts of the world and trying to link this knowledge with the current situation in my country, in my society, and try to play this role between the local, international, and the international local topics and issues. And of course, this gives me a lot of better understanding to my society itself and to the global issues that are really linking people together and showing how much there are common challenging facing the human beings all over the world and specifically women around the world. And then it is very important to say that different jobs, being an activist in civil society, being a teacher, being a journalist, being a lawyer, and being a human rights defender in a way, helps me a lot in what I am now. It was not easy for me to raise 4 children and to be a wife and a mother for these 4 children without the support of the family and without the motivation that many women, especially women who are victims of violence, who are really suffering human rights violations and struggling for their rights. I found myself as their lawyer, and I feel that I have to spend enough money and enough time and energy to try to support those women and to encourage them to defend their rights. That means you cannot do it yourself as individual. You have to be part of larger communities and organizations who are really working on these issues. And this is how SIGI was born, as the Sisterhood is Global Institute Jordan was really coming to respond to these needs and to these priorities. And of course, since that time, there was a lot of different responsibilities that I was involved in, from being part of a member of the National Charter Drafting Committee, Royal Drafting Committee, in the period when Jordan was, there was a re-democratization process started 1989. This re-democratization process put me on on one table with all the different stakeholders of the politics in Jordan. So the 60 members of the Royal Commission for drafting the new charter for Jordan, which is similar to a new social contract, if I may use this. There was people from the Islamist groups, to the communist groups, to the nationalists, to the liberals, to the Democrats, to the lefts, to the rights. So everybody was around the same table. And we were only 4 women out of 60. But I can say that the contribution of those women to the charter was really very important, and you can easily see that the charter was clearly on equality between men and women, clearly on other issues of human rights, non-discrimination, equal opportunities, and the rule of law and the democratic values. And I'm still very proud that I was part of that Royal Commission. Also, it was a very valuable experience in how to deal with the opposition, because not every idea or every suggestions that we were made that time was accepted by the others, and there was a huge efforts done by women in the committee and by like-minded members to negotiate on issues such as equality between men and women, and we learned how to deal with the opposition, if I may say. The opposition can be not only the opposition of the government, political parties that are not in power, but it is the opposition to any directions, to any trends, to any values that you believe in. So it was a very valuable experience, and always dialogue is very important. Negotiation, listening to others, and presenting to them. Building your case is very important. Trying to be positive and not. It has to be a dialogue built on respect, despite of the differences, the different point of views, and sometimes the very harmful ideas that others can or maybe have. But it is very important to keep the route open to the others around you, and that will be more useful in reaching a point where you maybe not have all what you want, but at least you can achieve something by negotiating with others. These lessons were very important for me. Later on also, I was involved in many other initiatives on the national level and sometimes regional levels where some documents were appeared, some main charters or declarations or something, which was always needs a lot of in-depth and understanding and ability to be in negotiation and dialogue processes that is not so pleasant sometimes. And the one of the most important experiences for me was when I was invited to be a minister by the Prime Minister, which I was a minister under his period. This gives me the opportunity to be in the decision-making position, and it was not easy because also in the cabinet, not every member of the cabinet is thinking the same way or having the same program or really realizing gender equality issues and human rights issues and the need of some good governance principles or many any other things that you believe you have to encourage and to implement while you are in position. But that was a very important experience for me, especially because I was responsible for the media, and in that time I think a very important transition in the media sector in Jordan happened, and I'm really very proud of, which was really encouraging freedom of expression and open up for the private media institutions and means new TV stations, new radios, community-led radios was established during that period, and I think it was one of the golden ages for the media specifically, and also as a minister of culture, I tried also to open for the government for the new multiple kind of media and more democratic culture to be adopted by our government that time, to accept different point of views, to accept different groups, to be active, and to deal with groups and citizens on equal basis, have one distance between all of them despite of their different point of view and different ideas. So that experience was very important, because also I see the issues from a governmental lens, which is different, which is not necessarily enabling one. There are a lot of limitations that can control any member of a cabinet, especially when it is the cabinet is not nominated by the majority of the parliamentarians. It's not a parliamentarian government. So you can see that it is very, you can find a very conservative member and very democratic one in the same cabinet.